All right, welcome to this awesome, high vibe, amazing interview. I have Yennefer in the house. Yennefer is a rock star in the online space. If you don't know who Yennefer is, you need to open your eyes and check out some social media spots. I'm very excited to talk to you about all sorts of stuff, Yennefer. But before we get into it, thank you for being here. I appreciate the time
No,
out of your
thank
day.
you.
I know you're a best-selling author, and the glitz and the glam is coming out these days. So thanks for making time for us. That's
You're so
awesome.
funny.
I love it. So
This is
Yennefer,
this is like an interview slash catch up.
yeah, it's an interview catch-up. That's what it is. We're just friends. It's it's a relationship-based business model, right?
Yeah,
That's really what
for
this is.
sure.
So that's the first lesson of today, folks. It's a relationship-based business model, right? So
Yeah.
Yennefer, for the viewer who doesn't know you as awesomely well as I do, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Wow. First of all, thank you for the amazing introduction because that makes me feel amazing. I appreciate you coming on here, and I'm so excited to chat with you. Every time we talk, we're always on high vibe, good energy. I just love talking to you. So yeah, thank you for having me. That's the first thing I wanted to share. And oh my God, who is Yennefer? So Yennefer is a social media expert, an affiliate marketing rock star. I am a best-selling author
Yeah.
now. Woohoo! If you haven't got my book, The $1,000,000 Story, you can find it on Amazon. We
You go
share
get it.
our
Go get
stories
it.
in there, so go get it. It's definitely super valuable. And the goal, just to throw this in there before we get into my story, the goal of this book was to inspire people to take action and change their lives. Like that's all this book is about, like inspiration. So get the book and get inspired and go kick ass and take action. So yes, I am a best-selling author. I am a mom of 5. I am, I have my fiance, so I'm engaged. I just got engaged in November. Woohoo! So I just got engaged. So I am a busy woman, but I love helping people. I love connecting with people. I love helping people reach their best potential. It just makes me, feel amazing inside. Over the last 6 years, I've been working full-time online. I've done everything from affiliate marketing to coaching to now managing super high profile groups on Facebook. So I kind of shifted into the power admin stuff in the last year. I work with Russel Brunson. I work with Jay Shetty. I work with a few other 2 Comma Club earners where, I'm helping them with their social media and their groups. So yeah, that's, I guess, a little summary of everything that Yennefer is about.
Yeah, I love the summary. Amazing, amazing. I just casually work with Jay Shetty and Russell Brunson and have a bestseller. Just,
Casually.
just no big
It
deal.
didn't always start like that,
It
okay? It
didn't.
didn't always start like that. I've
It
worked
didn't.
my way and I up there, right? And I'm still not done, first of all, but I've put a lot of hours, a lot of dedication, a lot of relationship capital, right? This whole
Mm.
building relationship, a lot of investing into myself, investing into skills, courses, events, knowledge. Like this would not have been where, I would not be where I am right now if it wasn't for all those things.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's what it's all about. So take us back just a little ways on the timeline, Yennefer, if you would mind. Um, what you're doing now is phenomenal, and we're going to get into that in a second. Some of these little more granular details. But where did it all start for you? When did the journey begin online? How did that look?
Yeah. So I originally went to school and I did the whole 9 to 5 thing to get a job. I went to school for my master's and got into so much debt that I'm still paying off. It's just insane, right? Thinking I was doing the right thing, right? When my mom taught me, you got to go to school, you got to get a job, and you got to, work your way up the corporate ladder, and that's successful life, right? So I did that. And along that journey, I had 2 children. And then I grew up in New York City, first of all. So I grew up in New York City, went to school. I had 2 children. I moved to Florida 6 years ago with the intention of giving my kids a better future. Now, I grew up in the hood, like hood in New York City. Like I'm talking about, yeah, the hood. If you know the Bronx, you know that there is the hood. If you're watching this video, you're from New York, you know what I mean. And I knew that I didn't want my kids to see what I saw growing up. So I decided to move to Florida to give them a brand new future. I came over here. As soon as I got here, I found out I was pregnant with my third son. So now I have 3 kids, right? I actually ended up landing a really good job here in Florida right after I had the baby. And I was like, yeah, I made it, right? I'm in a brand new place. I have, my beautiful children, white picket fence house, and I got this amazing job, right? So come to find out, about a year and a half later, I get laid off from my corporate dream job. And now at that point, I was a single mom. I had broken up with my kid's father. So I was a single mom, 3 kids, no job, in a brand new state with no family. That's kind of how everything started. And I fell down the rabbit hole. Like, I was depressed. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to pay bills. I was applying for work everywhere and I couldn't find a job. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I got this degree. I got all this experience. I've been working, since I was 18 years old. Like, I can't find a job. So through that journey and my whole depressionness that I had going on, I started visiting this church in my area. And this girl told me about making money online in my church, right? She was the one that she was like, that you can learn how to make money for yourself, right? And I was like, what do you mean make money for yourself? Like, I never worked for myself before. I never had like entrepreneur friends. I never had friends that were millionaires. And all my friends were like in poverty, right? So that's what I grew up seeing. I didn't even know what was possible. Right. So she's telling me about this opportunity, and it was a health and wellness company. It was a network marketing company, and it was a health and wellness. And she's like, well, you got to sell these products and you can build this team, and you just got to tell 3 people, and they tell 3 people, and they'll tell 3 people, right? Because that's what they tell you when you first start. You don't know anything, right? And then you'll make $1 million. And I was like,
overnight, probably.
Yeah. And then you'll make $1 million. I was like, okay, whatever. So she was like, let's meet for coffee and I'll tell you more. So, cause we were in church, so she really couldn't like explain everything, right? We're like trying to watch the service. And she was like, let's meet for coffee. And I told her, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was like, listen, I don't even have money to go meet you for coffee. Like, it is like that bad. Like, I lost my job. I'm literally on my last paycheck because I got paid 2 weeks after. I'm like, I'm on my last paycheck. I don't even know how I'm going to feed my kids, so I cannot meet you for coffee. And that girl, she was like, I'm going to pay for you. Just meet me in McDonald's. And we went to McDonald's. We had coffee and she bought food for my kids. I remember it till this day. And even though, I'm not part of the opportunity anymore, I thank her because she just planted that seed and connected me to this whole new world. So that's how I got started with network marketing. I actually ended up doing really good for my first round in network marketing. But, I was in that company for 3 years. Within 3 months of me joining, I got to the top of the leaderboards. And I was 2 ranks away from the top of the company. And everybody was like, how in the world did you do that? You never done network marketing before. I didn't have no online presence. Like, I started everything right then and there when that girl told me about this thing in that McDonald's having coffee. I signed up right there with my last $119. I remember was the distributor kit. Okay.
Wow.
So 3 months later, I'm already making, 5 figures, right? 5 figures from nothing. And I never had to get a job ever again. That was my journey, how it started. So, and when people ask me, how did you do it, right? And to this day, I tell people it was like ignorance on fire, right? Like, I just went all in because I had no choice, right? It was either that or my kids were not going to eat, right? So I was doing home parties after home parties. I was doing like Zoom parties like this. Like, every day I had a party where I was talking about these health and wellness products. I wrapped my car up. Like, everywhere I went, people knew that I was like the living brand of the company, right? It wasn't Jennifer Mendez. It was that brand.
Yeah.
But I didn't know any better, right? I was just trying to sell, right? So that's kind of what happened. So 3 years later, my whole team started falling apart. And I was like, why are people falling apart? Like, what's going on? Like, I didn't know that there was attrition rate. I didn't know like all these terms, I didn't know all these things. I didn't know people had blogs and they, would get traffic from blogs or, or Facebook groups. Back then, I didn't even know like Facebook groups or running traffic or anything like that, or building funnels. I didn't know about building a list. I didn't know any of that stuff. So when my whole team started falling apart and my income went from like, I was making about like $7,000 a month. I went from that to like $500 a month in a matter of like 2 months. Like literally, it was crazy. One month I was making 8 G's, and the next month it was like a $500 paycheck. And I was like, what is this? And during that time, that's when I met Jose. Like right before the downfall, I met Jose through networking. It was through Facebook. And we connected, and he moved to Florida. We fell in love, and then we're like, yeah, we're going to make $1 million with this company because you're almost at the top. Let's just continue to build your team. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And a month later, everything started going the opposite direction. And he was the one that actually saw a webinar where it talked about investing into yourself and investing into a mentor and investing into a coach to like teach you strategies, like marketing strategies to help your business grow. And that's kind of what made everything change. Like, even though, you know, I'm so grateful for the network marketing opportunity because I was able to make enough income to not have to go back to work. And I had my 3 kids at that moment, you know, and B, I learned about personal development. I had no idea what personal development was until I got into the network marketing space. Even though that was not the company for me, it taught me about personal development. Like, you know, they don't teach that stuff in school. Again, I didn't have friends that practiced personal development or that were business owners or anything like that. So, you know, that company just like I told you, put the seed for me to learn, like the things that got, you know, that pushed me to keep going of all the things that I've been able to do now. So we saw this webinar, and Jose invested into this mentorship, and that's where we started learning about affiliate marketing and building a list and, you know, relationship capital and how this is a relationship business. This is not like features and benefits and just sell. That's kind of what we were doing before, but that only lasts but so long. That is not like long term. You know what I mean? When it comes to the online space and the marketing space. And yeah, that's kind of like the beginning of my journey. I don't know if you want me to continue from there. And then what had happened was
what had happened. And then, yeah, cool. No, totally. You know, we both have been around. You've been around much longer than I have, but I've been around enough to hear the same kind of repetitive story. A lot of people, they come online, they're overwhelmed, confused. Some have massive success right out of the gate, like you did, but most don't. Right. I didn't. I struggled badly for the first 6 months I came online. It got worse for me. Like I was also I was in a spiral. I had lost everything. And I went online and lost more, you know, like I was like, oh my God, like I was really down. And again, me as well, the same thing. When you step into a space where you have coaches and mentors and people around you that you can learn from that have walked the path, it just expedites your success. And when they actually show you the tools that you need, and they show you the strategies that you should be using, and they show you the blueprint essentially, and there's multiple people in multiple areas that can help you with multiple things, right? Some people are sales experts, some people are lead gen people, some people are closers, some people are just straight networkers, you know, and they have people skills that you can learn from. Taking pieces from all these different people and stirring up your own little jambalaya soup is the way to go, right? It's obvious. Yeah,
for sure.
So, okay. So you took a path and then you're going forward and then things are doing well for you. Tell me a little bit about how you discovered your current business model.
Yeah, it kind of like evolved on its own. It's crazy. And I think that sometimes, you know, we get hung up, and I'm glad that you asked that question. That's actually a good question because, you know, when I think of our agency and I think of our business, it's nothing how it is, when we started it. We started in 2018, in the beginning of 2018. That's when we started our marketing agency. And what we do now is totally different than what we started with. And sometimes we start things and we think because it didn't work out or maybe it didn't get enough traction that we wanted it to, that it's like a failure. Like to me, you know, I want to share that with everyone, that if you ever started anything, that it doesn't mean that it's a failure. It just might mean that you need to take a different route. It could be like the same industry, but you might need to take a different, you know, like a detour, right? A different route to get to your final destination. And just because you started with something doesn't mean that that's what you're going to end with, you know, long term. So our agency has evolved like through time. So we started After getting into the mentorship world and learning organic, right? Like how to make money online organic, I was like, okay, now we learn organic. Like we need to go invest into learning how to do paid traffic. Let's go learn how to do paid traffic. That's when we found ClickFunnels, and we went to Funnel Hacking Live 2018. So it was 2 years ago. And that's kind of when I started to get into Russell's world. And I was seeing all these people like make all this money like with funnels and ads. And I was like, I need to learn how to run ads. If I could do this organically and make, over 6 figures, because at that point we had already made 6 figures online organically, why can I either A, do this for other people, or B, learn how to pay traffic and do it for other people, right? Because I already had done it for myself. So that's where the agency was born, at Funnel Hacking Live 2018. We were like, okay, we've done it for ourselves. We could do it for other people. Let's, learn all the courses that they have out there for Facebook ads. And I took every single course you could think of. Okay, some were good, some were bad, whatever. That's, you learn as you go, right? I started running traffic for myself. I started running traffic for other people. Like, we're really good with connecting with people and really good at sales. So getting clients is not like a problem for us, right? So we got a few clients, and we charge them very low so that we can be able to build our skills and our case studies and stuff like that. And we launched the agency, right? So from there, and networking in the ClickFunnels community, I even got clients from there at the event. I was like signing people up. It was insane, but it happened. It's true. And we started the agency with that. We were doing Facebook ads, lead gen, and social media management, like, posting for other businesses. And we started growing a team. Like, we started bringing people on to help us with the managing part and stuff like that. And that was 2018. So we were doing that for a little while. Then when messenger marketing came out at the end of 2018, we started dipping into that. And I was like, oh my God, we need to learn how to build bots. This is like the hottest thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, marketing is all about, first of all, testing and tweaking and staying innovative, right? Because the marketing world is always changing, right? If you don't try new things, if you don't test new things, like, how do you grow, right? And that's why Russell is where he's at, because he has evolved over time. Like, he's been in the game for over 20 years, but he wasn't building funnels from day one, like he's been, he's evolved with the times and with marketing, right? So when the messenger bot stuff started getting super popular at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019, I dipped into that. So I took every course. I took the ManyChat course. I got certified by ManyChat. Then I took the agency test, where we have the agency badge. So if you own an agency and you build bots for other people, you could take this test and then you get certified through ManyChat. That right there unlocked another opportunity for us, because we're listed on their website. We go to manychat.com/agencies. We're there. So from there, we get clients and people that, were reaching out to us for bots, but then we would sell them bots and Facebook ads and social media management, because those are the things that we already had in our plate, right? So we kept working all the end of 2018, the beginning of 2019. And then in May, I speak to John Parks, which is the VP of marketing, and he's like, hey, how would you like to, first of all, when I talked to John Parks, originally it was so that I could run Facebook ads for them, because that was what I was an expert in at that time, right? Yeah. So he goes, I'm going to set up a meeting with my assistant, right? He goes, email my assistant, let's set up a meeting so we can talk about this Facebook ad stuff, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. And I was like so excited. I was like, holy cow, like, you know what it is to join Russell's traffic team? That is amazing. So I sent this email to his assistant, and then it was like crickets after that. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what the hell happened? Did he like lose interest in like working with me, right? I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, so like 3 weeks passed, 4 weeks passed, 5 weeks passed. I go and message his assistant again, and I sent her an email. I was like, hey, I haven't heard back from you guys, and John wanted to meet with me, and I don't know, what's going on. So she's like, but I've been sending you an email like 2 weeks ago. He was open on this day and this day, and you didn't respond. So I go and check the spam folder. Her email was in my spam folder, yo. No. And I was like, oh, heck no. How did this happen? So you know what I did? It's so funny because, video is king, okay? So you know what I did? I made a video, and I sent it to John. And I told him how I apologized that his thing was in, like, her email was in my spam folder, that I'm so excited to talk to them. And I was like, this with so much energy. I was like, you have to give me a call. We need to connect. Let's do this. And that's how I got the call with John. So when I get on the call with John, he's like, you know what? I think you would be really good at helping us with the Facebook community. Cause back then there wasn't really moderation of the group. Um, it's a lot of people in there. It's like a small city. It's like a little city in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, what about instead of the Facebook ads, you just go take over the Facebook group? And I was like, what do you mean take over the Facebook group? Right? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not like, that's not what I do. Like, I run Facebook ads, right? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, but you're really good with people. You know a lot of people in the community. I think you'll be a perfect fit to like go in there and, go build out a team. Like that's kind of what they hired me for, to like build the moderation team from scratch. And I was like, okay, whatever. It was an opportunity to get closer to Russell and work with some of the best marketers in the world. So I was like, whatever, I'm in. Let's go. Let's do this group thing. Right? Let's do this group thing. So I got in there, and that was May of 2019. And when I got in there, I was like, wow, like this is like a mini city, because it's different from when you see it from a member's perspective than from an admin perspective, and you have a bazillion notifications going off on your feed, right? And all the alerts and member requests and all. And I was like, holy cow, like it is like a mini city. I need help. Like we need to bring people. So we hired a team. So I managed 9 people. I trained them. And we create a structure. So we have like a SOP for the group. Like, I mean, like we run that group, like the group itself is a business, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Because there's so many people in there. It's a traffic source. That's what it is. It's a big, giant list and there's a traffic source, and then people talking there. That's kind of exactly what it is. Totally. And so we did that, and then after that I got invited by Facebook to get trained by Facebook, because I admin this large community. And also you get handpicked by Facebook by being a top admin for big groups and also engaging groups. So because I moderate ClickFunnels and a few other groups that weren't that big, but they were big, they picked me, and I'm one of the 520 like lead power admins of Facebook. So we get trained by Facebook every Friday on like best policy practices. And we get all these perks. I get VIP support with Facebook when something goes wrong. I get all the beta features. So any group that I admin gets whitelisted from the Facebook ban, so your group doesn't get shut down. I get the perks of anything that comes out new. We always get it first. Trained by them. All these perks, right? Because I'm a power admin, and I kept working with Russell and doing all that stuff for his group. Then from that connection, the director of the strategist of the marketing department for Jay Shetty reached out to me asking me if I wanted to help with their group and go do the same thing that Jay Shetty has a coaching group. He has a few groups, but they wanted me specifically to work, help them structure the coaching group and train their team. They already had a team. And I was like, all right, yeah, let's do it. So then I did that. And then from the Jay Shetty group, a few others, two Comma Club award winners hit me up from the ClickFunnels community, and it kind of became a thing. And now, our agency shifted from Facebook ads, messenger marketing, and, management to now power admin services. And that's our main thing now. So what I do now is either I come in and I train moderators for people's groups, or I come in and bring my own team. So I have my own team of people that I've already trained, that have already worked with me since last year. And we put these mods and we moderate the group, we protect the group, because again, the benefits of having me in there is that, their groups get whitelisted, they won't get shut down. And yeah, we've moved our focus to that. So you see, like, when we talk about like how everything started is totally not what it is now. Like it was like one door led to another door, another connection led to another connection and something else. And now, like, literally we're working with like 7 and 8 figure. And right now I have a pending contract with a 9-figure business to run their groups. You know what I'm saying? Like it's insane from all that. But it all started because A, I invested into myself, right? B, I kept going. 3, I surrounded myself with amazing, positive people. Like if you become the 5 people that you associate yourself with. So I made sure that everybody in my circle was either doing amazing things or even better things than me, higher up than me, so I could like reach and learn and pull and get connected and keep climbing up and climbing up and climbing up. And that's what we've been able to do. And it's been 6 years since the starts of me being, starting my online journey now.
Wow. What a journey since McDonald's, huh?
Crazy, since that McDonald's when I didn't even have like $1.25 for a cup of coffee. Okay.
It's awesome.
You know what I
love
mean?
it. The power of the internet and the entrepreneurial spirit and the never die attitude, right? That's
and taking action too, because there was times that I wanted to give up. There was times even when in the beginning when I was like, oh, I'm doing all this work for this little bit of money, right? I'm doing all this work because when you work for yourself, it's not really like an hourly paycheck type of thing, right? It's like, it's more commission based. It's more for, you might work 2-3 months and then bam, you get 1 month that you're doing amazing and then 1 month that you don't make that much money. So, there's been times that I've wanted to give up. There's been times that, I've cried myself to sleep. Like, I don't know how I'm going to pay the bills the next day, but I never gave up. Like, I never gave up. I kept going because I saw other people and I saw what was possible, and I was like, if they could do it, why? It's just my time is going to come, like my time is going to come. And I still feel like I'm not even like halfway close to where I need to be. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still fighting for my financial, my financial freedom dream, where I don't have to work at all. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
I do. I know exactly what you mean. I love it. I love it. So with all this going on, to the viewers out there and the listeners on the podcast, they're probably asking themselves right now, how does this woman not get overwhelmed? How do you deal with that? All this
That's a good question.
Pressure and all these things that you're doing.
And 5 kids at home.
And 5 kids, and Jose, he's
They're
a
like
handful.
screaming up there. And Jose's another one, so it's like 6 kids. No, let me stop. I love him to death, baby.
He's
if you hear
great.
This podcast, you know that I love you. If it wasn't for him, I mean, even when there's times where I want to give up, he pushes me. He encourages me. He is my cheerleader. He is like the backbone of this family. No lie. He says I'm a superwoman because I multitask. Right? Because women are good at that. I think that's just what it is. I multitask. And the second thing that I do to try to stay organized is my calendar. Like, if I was to show you my calendar, everything is broken down by hour. Like, literally, I try to keep my calendar to the T, because if it wasn't for that, like, I'll be all over the place, because I do have a lot of things going on. I have this project over here, I have that project over there. I do calls like this. I also have to cook. I have to clean. I have to take care of the kids. So it's all about time management and trying to stick to your schedule as much as possible. Now, granted, there's going to be times where emergencies happen, right? Sometimes you got to switch things around in your schedule, but I have super OCD when it comes to my calendar, and I try to keep it, keep the time as best as possible. Jose just brought me some chocolate because he just knows that I love chocolate.
What a guy. What a guy.
He said, what a guy. So yeah, that answers your question. That's a great question, because people ask me that all the time. He's like, how can you manage a business, work with Russell, and have kids and be a wife? You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot. And my thing, from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, I'm doing something. Like, there's no, like, I'm just chilling here watching TV. Like, there's no TV here. Like, like, from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, I'm doing something. Yeah. But I know that everything I'm doing is to get closer to my financial freedom.
Exactly. I completely resonate with everything you're saying. I'm the exact same way. The second I wake up till the second I go to bed, it's just nonstop. And it's always something productive and pushing the needle forward. And I use Google Calendar, right? And I have it on my phone, and it's those blocks. Boom, 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 boom. Color coded for specific things.
Alarms, I do color coordination too. Bam, high five.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. So let's just talk about the newest awesome thing that you got going on. You just hit #1 on Amazon as an Amazon best-selling author. Talk to me about that.
What a journey. Yeah, it was crazy because, and all through that networking, right? This lady approached me and she was like, I read your story online. Cause I share my story online everybody that goes to my Facebook or my, my Instagram, you just go to my main picture, the banner picture, and it has my story there, right? So this girl, she's part of the ClickFunnels community. She owns a publishing company. Shout out to Jamie Foxx. If you ever want to, Jamie Wolf, if you ever want to write a book, reach out to Jamie because she's amazing. She reached out to me. She was like, hey, I read your story. You don't know me. Like, I have never talked to this girl. And she's like, you don't know me. I read your story and I feel like you should be sharing the story like with the world. Like more people need to hear your story. And I was like, oh my God, like, what do you mean? Right? I'm like, man, like, wow, like my story? Like, what do you mean? And she was like, yeah, I would love to put you in this project. You know, I handpicked 10 people that I look for, you know, specific things in their story. And I feel like if we combine all your stories and put them in a book, we could hit best-selling author. And I was like, oh my God. So just to rewind, about 2 years before that message, I started to write my book. I had started to write a book, but I never finished it because I got so busy and I kind of like put it in the back burner. So when she hit me up, the chapter that is in this book, it was already half written. And when she messaged me, I was like, wow, maybe this is like a sign that, you know, God wants me to put this out there, like go finish the thing that I started that I didn't even finish because I just got so busy and I put it on the back burner, but people need to hear my story. So that's kind of like how I took it, like a sign. And I was like, all right, I'm in. What do I have to do? So then, you know, we've been working on this book for months, and it actually dropped in December. So it's only been out for about 3 weeks. It's only been out like 3 weeks, the book. And we did a massive push, right? Like everybody was promoting it on social media, on podcasts, on, you know, everywhere, in their email list, in their groups. We did a massive push. And the first week we hit number 2 in like different areas, in different categories. So, you know, Amazon has different categories. And we was like, man, that's awesome. Like, we were so excited for number 2. Like, everybody was happy. You know, we wasn't even going to push anymore. Like, we was just, you know, everybody added it to their funnels, right? Like, if you want to get this book, you know, read it. Like, we didn't, you know, the goal of this book wasn't to make money. It was to inspire people. Like, this wasn't something that we're like, oh, we want to sell 100 million copies because we're going to be millionaires from this book. Like, it wasn't about that. Like, it was about the collaboration, coming together, sharing our story to impact people so that they can know what's possible. Because at the end of every single chapter, like the last paragraph from every author says, make sure you take action, make sure you follow your dreams, make sure you do your thing. Like, that was the end result of this book. So when we hit number 2, we kind of just like left it alone, right? So then like 4 days ago, one of the girls and Jamie, the podcast guy, two of the other authors, it was like, guys, you know, with the list that we have, with the amount of people that we know, like, there's no way that we could just leave this at number 2. Like, we need to go share this with more people. Like, let's do a big push together at the same time. Let's go live. Let's go on the group. So we picked the time that we were going to go live. We picked the time where we were going to share it with our list, with everybody. And in 1 hour, we hit number 1. And I was like, holy cow, like, we did it. We did it, right? Like, number 2, we were happy with that. But when we did number 1 and that extra push, it just shows the power of teamwork as well. The power of networks, right? And lists, because everybody had their own little tribes, right? That they, you know, shared this information with. And on top of that, all the proceeds that we gave the money to the fires in Australia, the bushfires in Australia. So on top of that, we were sharing with people that this money was going to go to a good cause. Plus, you were going to learn how all these people were able to change their lives, how they went from nothing to something, so that you could be inspired too. And now I'm like so proud. I have like 10 copies here. I have like 10 copies here. I'm so excited. Obviously, I changed my banner on my info section on Facebook. It says best-selling author. Of course, I'm going to share that. That's a major accomplishment. First of all, I never thought I would be writing a book. You know, second, you know, hitting number 1, that it was just an amazing journey to go through that, the adrenaline rush in that 2-hour period. We were like refreshing the pages, right? I know you went through the same thing with the podcast, right? Refreshing the stats to see, like, you know, where you hit, you know, in the charts. And when we got that number one, everybody took like 100 screenshots. I was like, taking the screenshots to make sure that we have proof that we hit number one. So make sure that you get the book, $1 Million Story on Amazon.
Yes, get that book, $1 Million Story on Amazon. No, I hear the journey on that it is a rush. I felt that when we launched the Growth Podcast as well. No shout out to Gary V. I hit number 2. Did you know that? I hit number 2.
Yes.
And I was like, well, there's no way I'm getting over top of Gary V. It's like, no matter what I do right now, there's no way. You can't. He's just
number 2 on the podcast charts. That's an amazing accomplishment. So freaking kudos to you.
Yeah, I love it. I felt very accomplished that day. It's a mission, the whole thing's a mission. And it's a fun mission, though. The podcasting really opens up the networking platform. It gives you a platform to reach out to people and reach up. That's a big part of podcasting. It gives you an opportunity to reach up.
Yeah, for sure.
So one last thing here before we go. I don't want to take too much of your busy schedule. I don't want to crunch into your next block. On your next block. I don't want to touch your next block. The blocks are sacred. Okay. So if you're looking back on it now, was there a transformation that happened that you didn't realize was going to happen?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think that, when I started the whole network marketing thing that I learned about personal development, that was like the seed, right? But when I invested into coaching, I learned about more, I guess more in depth on how to have more self-worthiness. I think that was the big transition because, when you feel that you're worthy of all things, right? And you're like unstoppable, right? Like from the inside out, not from the outside in, from the inside out, you can accomplish so much more, right? So when I had a coach, when I invested to my first mentor, my first coach, like I learned about the law of attraction. I learned about, my spiritual being, about myself, about, bringing that out, about believing more about, it was more about me than anything that I was doing. It didn't matter the business. It didn't matter the vehicle. It didn't matter the book. It didn't matter what I was going to sell. Like it was more about becoming the best version of me. That was the transition where it kind of like unlocked the next level for me. And I'm like, holy cow, this is another word. Like I control this, right? I can control my reality. I know that I'm worthy. I know that I can do all things. I can control this. And I feel like when that happened, that unlocked the next level. And, there's always more levels, but that unlocked the next level for me to believe more in me and know for a fact that anything, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to be successful in because I just know, because I believe in myself and I just feel it. And I know that my heart is always in the good intentions. As long as I keep my heart and my ego down, right? Because everybody has an ego. As long as I keep my heart in the right place, I know I am unstoppable. So yes, there was that was a transition that I wasn't expecting that came from mentoring. And, when I invested into mentorship, I was trying to learn strategies, right? Like marketing strategies. I didn't know that I was going to learn about myself.
Yeah, I hear that. Same happened for me. Identical. It's a very common thread. Learning about yourself is massive. It's just phenomenal. Cool. Okay, Jennifer. Well, thank you so much for joining me today on the Growth Podcast. And for the listeners out there and the viewers watching this at home, how can they find you and get in touch with you?
Yes, so I'm all over the social channels, Jennifer Mendez. So it's kind of weird spelling. It's YHENNIFER and Mendez, MENDES. Find me on social. I have a business page. I have a Instagram. You can find me with the same name. If you want to learn about Power Admin Services, socialzapped.com. And that's how you can reach me.
Boom. That'll all be in the show notes as well, so you can just click on that. Jennifer, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.